Shifting focus, even as US President Donald Trump continues to claim great news on the economic front, layoffs are increasingly dominating the country's discourse. A lot has been happening. And in a big jolt to the media industry, the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, has laid off 1/3 of its workforce. Founded in 1877, the Washington Post is known for its watchdog journalism and has won 76 Pulitzer Prizes till date. Bezos, remember, bought the newspaper in 2013. Over 300 journalists have been laid off. And this includes almost all of its foreign correspondents, the New Delhi bureau chief, and those covering West Asia, China, Turkey, Iran. And as per reports, the newspaper was facing significant financial losses in the last few years. However, this crisis is not limited to the Washington Post alone, of course. According to a leading global outplacement firm, layoffs announced by US employers surged in January amid an uncertain economic environment. For instance, planned layoffs by US employers soared by 205% in the month of January alone. In total, over 100,000 people are being laid off. The layoffs are 118% higher as compared to January last year. And this is also the highest monthly layoff figure for the US since 2009. Multinational firm United Parcel Service topping the list with over 31,000 planned job cuts. Big tech firms also under the radar, as Amazon, remember, announced 16,000 employees will lose their jobs. As per estimates, artificial intelligence accounts for 7% of the planned layoffs. The prevailing market condition is believed to be one of the key reasons for the layoffs, in fact. Last year as well, the US witnessed a spate of layoffs across IT and other sectors, with Intel laying off 25,000 employees. Microsoft also witnessed 15,000 job cuts. With a slowdown in hiring as well, the job market in America remains rather volatile at present, to say the least. Throat swabs unlocked a new puzzle for health experts, it seems. Bangladesh logging mystery cases mimicking Nipah, and scientists are now racing to decode a mystery that has been hiding in plain sight. For years now, clinicians tracked the deadly Nipah virus, but new genomic sequencing has unmasked a different intruder, a novel bat-borne orthoreovirus known as PRV. Scientists reviewing stored throat swabs from patients originally suspected of having Nipah found that 5 individuals were actually fighting this entirely different emerging threat. And this is a wake-up call for global health surveillance. The initial cases in Bangladesh were found negative for Nipah virus. But when the samples were put through genetic sequencing, the scientists detected PRV, and the researchers were able to grow the virus in culture from the samples of 3 patients. All patients had recently eaten raw date palm sap, which is also a food source for fruit bats and the main route of NIV spillover from bats to human beings. The finding also raises concerns about hidden zoonotic threats in regions where Nipah is endemic. And the discovery comes just as India successfully declared a high-stakes victory against the Nipah outbreak. 2 cases, remember, were identified in West Bengal. After that, the Indian health officials found 196 contacts linked to the confirmed cases, and they were identified, traced, monitored, tested, with all tests for the virus negative. But while India's containment of Nipah offers a blueprint for success, this new discovery in Bangladesh proves the viral landscape is far more crowded than previously thought. Gold prices have risen sharply in recent days, and Parisians are making the most of it seems. Gold buying agencies in the French capital are thronged by people amid record price push, the new record set by the yellow metal drawing in sellers from across the city. Touching record highs last week before stabilizing midweek, gold has surely made people think about selling old jewelry for some extra income, perhaps. A retired Parisian couple also decided to encash their gold jewelry. The rapid price rise is also prompting people to empty safe deposit boxes to sell forgotten items.
Instead of keeping these jewelry at home, sleeping, well, they'll be useful for something. Maybe a trip or to help my daughters out too. A daughter who needs to do some work in her apartment. Yeah.
And the couple thinks that selling the jewelry is the best option when the metal is giving a good price in the market. And as the store director examined their modest pouch of gold rings and bracelets, both watched the jewelry pass from hand to hand.
I often check the gold prices because they go up and down. I looked and I saw that it's dropped by 15%, but still it remains a good price, and that's why we came to sell.
And with gold experiencing volatile prices, the volume of recycled gold has also increased in the market. But the store director says there is no thumb rule to decide if this is the right moment to sell.
No one holds the key to this equation today. Is it time to sell? Yes, these are still historical and interesting peaks, but I think we'll be in an upward trend this year, and so perhaps we should play the waiting game.
And while demand for new high-end jewelry remains strong, the surge has caused a shift in buying behavior, with some consumers opting to exchange old items for new ones rather than making outright purchases. Spot gold was steady on Wednesday after rising as much as 3.1% earlier in the session and climbing 5.9% on Tuesday. Global economic tensions continue to unsettle the markets, with geopolitical instability amplifying the situation. As of now, investors face both opportunities and risks. While the precious metal offers a safe haven, market participants must continue to keep an eye on volatility that continues to affect the price of the yellow metal. Russia is making spies out of pigeons. According to reports, a Russian technology company with reportedly close ties to Vladimir Putin's daughter is claiming to have turned pigeons into living drones. How exactly? By implanting computer chips directly into their brains. The Moscow-based company says it has been testing so-called biodrones since November under a project reportedly codenamed PJN-1. Neural chips are implanted into the birds' brains with cameras strapped to their chests and flight paths dictated remotely by operators. According to its website, early real-world use of this has started. And what's the stated goal then? To apply biological carriers in situations where mechanical drones face range, weight, or other limitations. The initial tests involved pigeons fitted with a small controller, solar panels mounted on the bird's back, and a camera. The birds are reportedly fitted with electrodes, a small controller, solar panels, and a video camera. And this reportedly allows for the pigeons to be steered remotely by stimulating their brains, making them turn left or right. So it's essentially a remote control on the bird. The company says these biological drones can fly up to 400 kilometers a day without needing to land or recharge. Now, if true, this would make them more efficient than conventional UAVs. So it's quite significant. The company says it's now moving towards large-scale production. Its founder has said different species may be used depending on the mission. The company claims the technology is for search and rescue and industrial monitoring, but experts are warning the birds could easily be adapted for military surveillance and reconnaissance. The company has also experimented with controlling rats and cows using electrodes. Despite doubts about feasibility and ethics, the company has also reportedly received massive state-backed funding. According to the report, the company's funding is on a scale never seen before. Supporters including a government technology fund, reportedly created on Putin's orders, and a venture fund linked to a Russian oligarch. Now here's where things get even more interesting. The company also reportedly partners with AI Institute, Artificial Intelligence Institute at the Moscow State University. This institute is headed by Katerina Tikhonova, widely reported to be Putin's younger daughter. Although Putin has never publicly acknowledged his daughters, they have become increasingly visible in state-backed projects. Tikhonova has previously spoken publicly about human brain interfaces, saying they help people realize their potential without mentioning her family ties. Now, coming back to this company we were telling you about, its head has openly spoken about creating what he calls Homo Superior, a new stage of humanity. As per reports on social media, he has even written about reprogramming Ukrainians after the war. And the company has released a video where the founder is showing the researchers directing chip-implanted pigeons to change direction mid-flight using computer commands. But there has been no independent scientific verification, reportedly, of these claims. Attempts to control animals are not new, of course. During the Cold War, the CIA, remember, experimented with dogs and cats in failed mind control projects, including acoustic kitty. All were abandoned as unworkable. And now the critics are saying that Russia's bio-drone project raises questions about ethics, about surveillance, and also militarization of science. Nike is facing a federal investigation, reportedly, that could have major implications for corporate diversity policies across the United States. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is probing whether Nike's diversity targets discriminated against white workers and job applicants. The investigation, which began last year, is now escalating into a court battle after the agency accused Nike of failing to fully comply with the subpoena. Nike is under investigation by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission over allegations that its diversity goals for its American workforce violated federal employment law. The probe, first disclosed in a federal court filing in Missouri, centers on whether Nike's hiring and promotion practices unlawfully favored racial and ethnic minorities over white employees and applicants, reportedly. And according to the EEOC, Nike may have violated the Civil Rights Act of 1964 by engaging in what the agency calls a pattern or practice of disparate treatment. That includes hiring, promotions, demotions, layoffs, internships, mentoring programs, and leadership development initiatives. At the center of the investigation being Nike's diversity targets, the company aimed to have at least 30% racial and ethnic minority representation, reportedly, at the director level and above in the US by 2025, and at least 35% across its overall US corporate workforce. The EEOC says Nike has not provided enough information to support the investigation and is asking a federal judge to compel the company to comply with the subpoena and turn over all requested documents. Nike pushed back, reportedly calling the move an unusual escalation. The company says it has cooperated in good faith, sharing thousands of pages of documents and written responses, and says it is continuing to provide additional information. The investigation started in 2024 and was initiated by the current EEOC chair, who at the time was a Republican commissioner. Under EEOC rules, individual commissioners can launch investigations independently. And the case also comes as President Trump makes what he calls illegal DEI practices a priority of his second administration, directing the federal agencies to scrutinize and prosecute corporate programs that allegedly discriminate against white workers. Nike's diversity efforts previously drew attention after a Bloomberg analysis showed the company had one of the largest increases in non-white hiring among major U.S. corporations between 2020 and 2021. The outcome of this case could set a precedent for how far companies can go in setting diversity targets and how federal law is applied to corporate DEI programs going forward. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.